Hello there. I said that weird. I'm Scotty. You're not. It is time to finally talk about the final season of Legends of Tomorrow. Season 7, final season of Legends of Tomorrow, which is the 7th season of Legends of Tomorrow. Number 7. Legends. Okay, I don't know where to start with this season. Well, we'll start with last season. Okay, so season 6, I said in my review, was a very ambitious season. A lot of stuff going on. Aliens were the thing. Uh, yeah, this is getting to the era where CW is now starting to care about its budget. And so the budget of certain shows went down. And you could tell that with this season because they are trapped in 1925 for most of this season, or at least half of the season. After the events of the last season, where a rogue wave rider came in and blew up their wave rider, they've been stuck in 1925. They get acclimated there. They're technically living with Spooner's mom. They do have a key which takes them to Constantine's house. However, because nothing's ever that easy when you're writing a TV show, we can't just have it be in modern day. No, it's actually a pocket dimension in hell. So they can't actually leave from there through the front doors because they go straight to hell. It's just another location for them to be in. That's it. Because having it be a key to get out of there would be too easy of a way to do it. And also, with the destruction of the Wave Rider means no Gideon, right? Right? Wrong. You see, Astra tries to use her magic to resurrect the Wave Rider. That doesn't work, but eventually, what does work is that it makes Gideon human, which is what leads us into the 100th episode. So most of the gang have gone forward to find this guy in New York named Gwyn Davies. Yes, who is inventor of the first time machine, apparently. But Astra, having tried to use her magic to resurrect the Wave Rider, is now passed out in bed. And so Spooner stays behind with her and her mom to take care of her, and in talking, they, resurrect Gideon as a human now. So the three of them are on the road to stop them because all the legends are going to die, apparently. I don't know. And it's here in the 100th episode, not only do we get flashbacks to stuff, but they also pepper in hints of what sets up the villains, the villains for this season, and revealing who was responsible for the destruction of the Wave Rider at the end of season 6. So it's revealed that the other bishop that they took from 22 to whatever, 2200, whatever the time was, or 21, whatever, 22nd century, from the future, the good one is starting to have memories after his memory was flashed away. And he seems to think that the legends are bad guys because he sees the creatures, sees the legends, all that, and it turns out he copied Gideon's memory over to a device and took it, and so now he has now an evil blue Gideon that he creates ends up making a new Wave Rider with, and he's the one who destroyed the old Wave Rider. The 100th episode. Now, I have not seen Supergirl's 100th episode yet, but so far, I think this one is the best. Okay? The Arrow 100th episode was plopped in the middle of a crossover, which diminished that crossover very much. It just, for me, that crossover hits a block as soon as you have to go back and remember, hey, 100 episodes of Arrow happened, so let's stop in the middle of a goddamn crossover and do this whole callback to it. It just doesn't, it doesn't work as part of a crossover. As a 100th episode, it kind of works, but I don't know. Well, if you make that the first episode of the crossover, and that's why the aliens kidnapped those 5 people, and that's why the others come together. Could work. And then you have the Flash 100th episode, which is good. Revisits a lot of things, shows Nora the past and all that. But I don't know. I really like this one. What it is that, like I said, Astra, Spooner, and Gideon have to try to make their way to New York. They're walking most of the time, and they hate walking. Spooner's mom doesn't have a vehicle or a horse carriage, something. She has no vehicle, nothing. She just walks from place to place, I guess. She's a healer. Doesn't pay much, I guess. But during this, they spot a pie in a windowsill, which Astra tells Gideon to go get. Gideon, while being human, can still calculate probabilities in the timeline and says that pie is actually historically significant. And Astra says, who cares? We're going to starve. And then Spooner tells, no, do what you feel is right. And so she gets all messed up and she ends up passing out. And so Astra uses a spell, which I'm realizing one episode after you just woke up from your magic coma is not a smart idea, but she uses a spell to get inside Gideon's head. Her and Spooner go inside Gideon's head, where we meet, which is like a Wave Rider in her head, basically. And we meet Jax, who is like a representative of being inside her head because he was her first big mechanic and all that. He's British because he's inside Gideon's head, so she made him British. And Franz Drama didn't have to, use the other, although he does in other flashbacks. But anyway, so he says that each of them have to go to memories to help her regain her memories. And so that's why we get the return of old cast members. But it's not actually flashbacks. It's new stuff that's filmed, and you can tell because people look significantly older. Like, they got most of the actors back. You got Falk Henschel, although he does look older because he decided to not shave his beard off. So he has a beard and this, like, little poofy hair, which is not what he had, but, So you got Falk Henschel back as Hawkman. Wentworth Miller as Captain Cold, or Leonard Snart. Right? And then you have what's his name? Brendan Routh and Courtney Ford back. But they did not get the actress who played Mona, even though there is a scene where they're in a book club, and she would definitely be there, but they did not bring her back for the book club scene. Dominic Purcell, despite the fact that he said that even though he was leaving the show, he would make sporadic appearances. I think that was before they had the story down, because I don't see how it would work for them, to do, I don't know. But he does not even appear in the 100th episode. You see a Mick Rory face down, but it's basically a stunt double. Even my son could tell that's not really him. He's just a stunt double guy. Sierra Benet, who played Hawk Girl, did not come back. But you got Arthur Darvill come back to play Rip in a couple flashbacks. But there's a flashback where we get actual flashbacks, people's deaths, to other. Although during this montage, the evil Blue Gideon, because there's a virus in her, it's evil Blue Gideon, and it's showing her all the people's deaths. She shows Hank's death, and I don't know how Hank's death would affect her. It's more for the audience to see, oh look, remember he died. But I really don't know how that would affect her personally. But she's like, no, but it's it's pain and all that makes us human. We're not human without pain and suffering, and so she decides she's got to live with this other version of her. And then she wakes up. They all wake up, and they go to find the others. Yeah. So during this journey, the others trying to find Gwyn Davies. They find him, and it's Matt Ryan playing a different character. Yeah, it's literally here. You can tell the picture. It's Matt Ryan in a fake beard, and his hair is now dark. But yeah, he's playing a character named Gwyn Davies, who is inventing this time machine because he wants, I don't know, to invent time machine. I don't remember why he's doing it, but yeah. And to make their money, to get there before they meet Gwyn Davies, Sarah and Ava become a bank robbers called the Bullet Blunts. So eventually, they do get Gwyn's time machine to work, and they do travel through time, but they go to like Chernobyl before it's about to explode, and this is where they decide we have to save these people. We can change it, although you think Chernobyl would be a fixed point, but it's not. But this is where we get the idea that because Bishop ends up realizing that what he's doing is wrong. He realizes the Legends are good people, and then he is swiftly killed later. He lands with them as they time travel to... Okay, so people might call this woke, but there is an episode dedicated to the women in the workforce. Back in World War II, how men went to war, so what the women do, they stay and they rivet. That's how you do stuff. Well, they do that, but of course, you got it. At this point in time, it's all white people on the floor, and then anyone else who's not white, of course, were maids, or even Gideon, who is white, is forced to be a secretary because she's British, I guess. I don't know. Which were the British our allies in World War II? I don't know. But yeah, it's a whole episode about female empowerment. Some people might put their nose down at, but I thought it worked what they were trying to do. That also changes history because they integrate the workforce, which is not what happens for another 20 years. And that's what the other Wave Rider shows up, and it's revealed that these assassins that are coming in are actually evil robot versions of the Legends, and like augmented to different hair. And there's like a Nate with big muscles, and there's a couple times he gets hit in the face, just like Arnold Schwarzenegger. And this is where this season loses me. Up to this point, I was like, okay, this is not that bad. Then I remembered. So they reveal that they're robot legends, and the other legends have to scramble to get out of there. Bishop dies, and the other legends have to scramble out of there. So you want to know what happens to the legends, where they go, No. We spent an entire episode following the Robo Legends as they try to fix the damage that the other legends have done. And I remember when that happened, I'm like, ugh, why are we following them? I hated the episode then, and I don't like it now. It's a little bit better than it was before, but it doesn't do anything. There's a point where Robot Sarah starts to question everything. By the end of the episode, it doesn't matter because she's been reprogrammed. And she and Robo Zari start to realize what's going on, try to convince the others. And then, because the episode has to end with it being where they're all still evil robots, Robo Zari, has to turn against Sarah for no reason other than getting a new CPU. it never made sense to me. Why is she doing this? So that they can end with them all being evil again. Then this whole episode means nothing because you're trying to spend this episode with the robot Sarah, trying to change everything, trying to turn and say, no, this is not, what we're doing is wrong, and then it doesn't amount to anything. So it's just filler. It's so much filler. It's just. Then we find out where Legends went, and it's more filler because they just ended up at the mansion, but it's still the mansion in the held mansion because it still can't be that easy. I don't know. They tell Gideon to send him home, and so she thinks that the mansion is like home because she's still kind of messed up. And we get another filler episode where we play this Dungeons and Dragons mock Dungeons and Dragons game that Gary has, and they all get sucked into the. That's in season 6 because Constantine is there. So what is this filler then? They're stuck there. That was in season 6 because Constantine was there. So what is this one then? I think it's just there's. Look at the name of the episode. Maybe that might help. Okay. No. Lowest common denominator. I think it's just a filler episode talking about what to do next. There's something. We do find out that Gwen is gay because we can't have straight characters in shows anymore, apparently. Or new characters. I don't know. Constantine had that. He was both ways, but now Gwen is definitively gay in a time where it would be very inappropriate, at least for not inappropriate like period, but inappropriate in the eyes of the public. In the eyes of the public at that time, in the eyes of people at that time, it's inappropriate. But just saying. But he wants to go back and save Alan, who died in the war. And they don't know. He wants to stop World War I, which is not a very good idea. But then he's like, we go back and save Alan, But we find out. So this episode basically a talking episode at a fixed point. I'm thinking. Okay, so he wants to stop World War I from happening so that people won't die, excuse me. So that is their plan. And they don't want to do it because it'll, it's World War I. I don't know if you can do that. But they decide that they have to do it because that will mess up history and the that means the evil Gideon and the evil Wave Rider will show up to stop them. So they have to do it. This is where we get to the fixed point, because we find out that the assassination of Archduke Ferdinand is a fixed point. Now, fixed points are represented very differently on this show, apparently, because, we know that Barry's mom's death is a fixed point. But here, we find out that's what's called a fixer. So, first of all, there's this bar called the Fixed Point. It's hidden behind a mirror, where people go to bet on people if they're going to succeed or not. People from all across the galaxy, there's aliens and everything, trying to, to bet on to see if we can do it. And apparently, there's a fixer there that will stop anyone from trying to change the fixed point. Which, if that's the case, then why isn't there someone posted at Barry's mom's house? Or is he supposed to keep going back there? I don't know. It just feels like they pulled this out of their ass. Oh, fixed point. We need something special for a fixed point. But we know that Barry's mom's death is a fixed point. So if you... I don't know. It's confusing. It's confusing. But it turns out the fixer is Eobard Thawne. I'm trying to place the timeline here. This would be 2022. This means it would be after season 7 of The Flash, in which we had another time-displaced Eobard Thawne. So it's after that. So after his death, but it just seems like to be the Eobard Thawne that has all the memories, though. So I don't know. It remembers stuff from season 2. So I don't know. He says that they put him there as a punishment, so he's got to protect time now. And he has changed, right? But then the evil robots show up and try to stop them from changing things, and they kill him. Anyway. And so, but Sarah had promised that when he died, if he died, because he says, I'll give you, 40 minutes. I'll give you 40 minutes to do what you gotta do, and then I'm putting things back on track. Which he does, and then the evil robot Sarah comes and kills him. Which I find is not necessary, but apparently they have to kill all time travelers, so that's the thing. It ends up being where the evil Nate, who is the muscle-bound idiot version, and captain now because evil Sarah turned good, and then they erased her memory, and they still have Nate be captain, Robo Nate be captain. But anyway, yeah, he is put there to protect the timeline. So yeah, so he's gonna do it because that's what they're designed to do, right? Yeah. So, eventually, no, they do get the Wave Rider back, and have to plot a course. But so they get the Wave Rider back, and they shut down Evil Gideon, but they're forced to bring it back online, and she's gonna suck everyone out of an airlock, but cannot do that because she does this thing where she takes all the atmosphere out and suck all the air out, right? But if she does that, she'll kill the other Gideon, and she cannot self-terminate. So they use Gideon as sort of a protection type thing, right? And both Gideons come up with an idea, or Good Gideon comes up with an idea. By the way, I should mention that Good Gideon also ends up with a relationship. It's Gary. She ends up with Gary, which makes sense, because, I don't know. When Gary got a girlfriend, she's a robot AI from the future who's now human, but yeah. There was a point that I got pissed when I first watched this because they get the Wave Rider back. And when she goes back to the mansion to get the others that are there, Evil Ava, so they destroy the other, not Astra, excuse me, Evil Astra. They push two of the evil robots, one of them being Evil Astra, into the Hellfire, and they basically destroy everyone, all the other robots except for Evil Sarah and Evil Nate. Evil Sarah is taken care of, and Evil Nate is put in charge of the timeline. Robo Nate, excuse me. Robo Astra comes back and stabs Gideon, Good Gideon. I remember when that first happened, I thought, oh, great, they got the Wave Rider back, so they don't need the human anymore. No, it doesn't really do anything. They bring her in there, and the evil Gideon is forced to heal her, which it does because it cannot self-terminate because it's technically her. And so, Good Gideon, Gary, and Evil Gideon come up with a plan. She is going to stay behind, and so is Gary, with the Evil Gideon so that they can protect the timeline. Everyone else is going to retire, and they shove everyone in their futures, which shows Sarah and Ava with a child. Right? So obviously they're going to adopt or surrogate or something. Nate is not only Nate has been contemplating the entire season of moving into the totem with Zari, but also he's writing a book on time travel, I think. Uh, Other Zari 2.0, she becomes like this big influencer, winning awards and stuff, I think. Birod becomes a best-selling album, singer, best-selling album. He gets a best-selling album as a singer. And the only one that's really bleak, Astra is running for president of the United States, which I just realized is not possible because technically she doesn't have a U.S. citizenship. Her soul was sent to hell. How is she able to do that? But I guess it works, right? And the only ones that are kind of bleak is that Spooner is going to be returned to her mom, I think, and Gwyn is going to have to live on his own without Alan. But Gwyn wants Alan, and so he's, he gets the team to try to plot, how to do it. But Gideon has already gone and supposedly gotten Alan. However, it turns out that Alan's death is a fixed point, and she just made a robot Alan, which Gwyn figures out and decides to go back in time using his time machine to do it. And we see that he dies. So the others use the Wave Rider. There's some time passing, we see them meeting up. They're supposed to meet up at the mansion because Abby uses her magic to make a bunch of copies of the key. Yeah, so they all start meeting up, and Gary gets kicked out of the Wave Rider by the evil Gideon because it's clouding good Gideon's judgment, I guess. And he gets stuck with the dinosaurs and cavemen, which dinosaurs and cavemen did not live together, but, whatever. And he is forced to make his own door so he could use the key to get help from the others. What happened, and they find out that Gwyn went after Alan in World War I, so they have to go there. This is where we get the finale. They go to save Alan, and they have to figure out, because Gwyn's plan is to replace Alan's dead body with the robot one, but that's still going to interfere with the fixed point, I guess. I don't know, because Alan's still alive and out there. Technically, they'll still find his, I don't know. But then also leaving a robot body, that's not good, right? But we found out the fixer is a guy named Mike, played by Donald Faison. And they have hints at this that I didn't catch until later in the episode. But he wears blue and yellow with a yellow star on everything. And you hear that and you're already thinking, you already know, oh wait, that's, yep, you be right. That's what they're doing. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say it now, but if you're thinking what I'm thinking, you're thinking, mm-hmm, that's what they're doing. But I didn't catch it till later. And so they come up with a plan, and he realizes that there's a joke. Because they come up with an idea that, we can do this, and it won't do anything. But again, leaving a robot behind will do something. But anyway, this hospital here is a joke. And he steals the Wave Rider, because of course he does. So they're stuck there. Unless they find a door, but then they'd just be stuck in a hell dimension, so... Well, Gwyn's time machine, but it gets blown up. Gwyn's time machine gets blown up, so... Yeah. But they're able to save Alan, right? And nothing bad happens. Then the Wave Rider comes back. And then we get the end of the series. Yes. Before I get to that, though, we do find out that Sarah is pregnant. It turns out with the alien DNA that she has, well, first of all, she gets hurt, but she's supposed to be able to heal now, right? The alien DNA. Well, no, because turns out that with her alien physiology, it can work like sharing saliva creates a baby, apparently. So it not only is she pregnant, but it's Ava's baby. It's really weird. But yeah, and so all the healing factors have gone to the baby. So she's now vulnerable, which makes her nervous about this whole plan. But they're all able to escape. Nate sacrifices his steel. He becomes steel to save Alan, and he gets hit with mustard gas, which burns off his the steel, and he ends up going into the totem with Zari. So this is supposed to be Nick Zano's exit from the show. It was supposed to be. Turns out this was just his last scene of the show completely. So they get on the bridge, and he comes back because they're still they're in like some rundown house or whatever. I mean, the Wayrider comes back, they go in, and they so I had an idea of what, but other Zari gives Nate the totem to go into the totem with. Does Behrad still have his? Because remember, they split into two, so does Behrad still have his? I don't know. Because my plan would work better if there was at least one totem still out there. But anyway. So anyway, they get on the bridge and they see Mike. And he's talking to them, and he comes out, and he is handcuffed. And he said, they're here. And time police show up. I don't know how they were going to explain these characters, but we'll never know. They show up, and they arrest the Legends. And they say, oh, shut up, Buster. And he's like, it's Booster. I'm Booster Gold. And I went, oh, and now I get the stars. Yes, if you're thinking Booster Gold, you were right. And so they get kidnapped, and that's the end of the show. Or they get, not kidnapped, they get arrested for time crimes, apparently. And that's the end of the show. Which, in a way, it does seem fitting for Legends to end in some kind of cliffhanger thing. But when they did that, they didn't know whether or not the show would be greenlit. And I think it was a choice. I think they did it on purpose, thinking, oh, if we live in a cliffhanger, they're going to have to renew us, right? Wrong. And how would they have done it if it wasn't a cliffhanger? Well, in my estimation, you could still do the whole, oh, we're going to go our separate ways and meet up places, even though they meet up whenever. And but it's not Gideon that stays behind, you see. So Gideon decides she wants to live in the real world with Gary, because living on a time ship is no place. She's human. She's been a time ship. She wants to get out there. She wants to have a life, right? This is my. So she creates a robot version of Rip Hunter, specifically designed to protect the timeline. And to not be followable by the evil Gideon either. Because if anything happens, good Gideon will be warned. She's got a connection to him. So, yeah. And so we get one last shot we get a goodbye to all the characters, and then we get one last shot of the Robo Rip Hunter setting a course through the time vortex. And I said this to my son, and he said, I like that. Because it would be like we're coming full circle, right? We started with a Rip Hunter and a Gideon, and we're ending with a Rip Hunter and a Gideon. It comes full circle, right? Even if you'd have to get Arthur Darvill to make one last cameo on the show, but I think it would work. So. When it comes to Legends of Tomorrow Season 7, I do think it is the worst of the seasons, because it ditches the format. There's not a, there's not a, oh, we gotta find this sort of thing. There's no aberrations or aliens or fugitives or monsters to track down. It's just we're trying to get to New York, and there's the robots, I guess, but it's not exactly part of it. At one point, they do. Is Elliot Ness? No, who is it? I don't remember I don't know, but there are robot replacements for certain people, and now there are just robots in the timeline. You remember that? People are robots. Thomas Edison, I think he's Thomas Edison, and then another one. I don't know, but anyway, yeah, it has its merits, but I do think it is the worst season. But that doesn't mean it's terrible. It's just I felt like there was a lot of filler due to the budget. Like we can't have them. Like, oh, the second a second we can use the mansion as a second set, but it can't be the mansion in present day because that would be too easy for them to get home. So it has to be in hell. And it just, and even then when Gideon's like, oh, we're home, is this the mansion? No, we're still in hell. Uh, but, towards the end of the season, it does get a little bit better, I think. But, what could have been another season? Season 8. Although, I think we may be lucky with this because I have a feeling had they greenlit it for an 8th season, they would have given us like 13 episodes. The budget would be way down. Who knows what we could have done. And now here's the big thing. Okay, so speaking of limited budget and episodes, my old buddy Eric Wallace, and I use old buddy in derogatory sense, my old buddy Eric Wallace said in an interview that had they had more time and money, more episode length, he was going to do an episode where the Flash goes to fix the cliffhanger for the Legends. The Legends cliffhanger to help the Legends. Okay, I argue that the 3 worst episodes in season 9 of The Flash are the 3 filler episodes that go between the end of the Red Death arc and that episode 9. That is the best episode of the season. And if you were just to do a 3-episode arc of Saving the Legends, I think it would work. But it would be ambitious and probably balloon the budget because my idea would not just be 3 episodes of trying to figure out stuff. It would be bringing back all the legends that were still out there. So the Hawks, Ray, Nora, Nate, First Zari, Jax, Wally, and uniting them with Team Flash. It would be ambitious. And so it would be big, it'd be like a 3-episode crossover thing to save them. Right? It would hinge on the fact of the totem. Like I would have to say that Bear Rat still has his totem, because that's what would start it off. Is that there's something wrong, and in the totem, Nate and Zari sense something is wrong, or the ancestors do, and so they pop out. Realize the others are captured, so they use a time courier to go back in time to Team Flash, to go to present time to Team Flash to get their help. Right? Team Flash realizes that to do this, they're going to need more help than just them, and he tries to unite the League, but the League is all busy, so Nate comes up with an idea to unite all the legends that are still out there. So he contacts Ray and Nora, and he contacts, then we get Jax, Wally, the Hawks, anyone there's stuff, Mick, and come out there. And here is where you could put in a scene of Mick's at a hospital with Lita, where she gives birth to the baby, because that plot line was never come back to, because I think it was supposed to, and then Don Purcell was like, oh no, I'm leaving the show. So, yeah, I don't know. But we get that, Who knows? But you could have done that. I'm just saying. It would be ambitious, probably balloon the budget, and wouldn't be something that they would be keen to do. But, it's an idea. As a big finale to save them, and, it would have to be sort of a finale. So we have finality to it. So I would actually say that the Wave Rider as it was impounded. And so after they're saved and after this adventure, they have to... Or maybe Wave Rider's not impounded, and during it gets shot down. Potentially destroyed. And so they're all, stuck. There are time couriers to take the Tarazis back to where they belong, to take Spooner back to her mom, which, again, I don't know what the point, and take Gwen and Alan back to there, but they use the time couriers to do that. They still got them, and then it's sort of a finale thing, which would be sort of like the end of what I said this season should have had, but without the Rip Hunter returning thing. Then we give closure to Legends, right? I'm just saying. So, what are your thoughts on Season 7 of Legends of Tomorrow? Leave a comment below, like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I'm Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.